Alright guys, it's time to find out everything about the social hierarchy in Final Fantasy XIV. Who are the kings and who are the peasants? That's what we are going to find out today. This will be interesting. And yeah, if you guys are new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content. Let's find out now all about the hierarchy in Final Fantasy XIV.
It's a holiday miracle, travelers. Welcome to another unholy video. Today, I will explain each social group of player and where everyone fits into the pecking order.
This will be
from
interesting.
The very worst to
the
the
peasants,
tippy top
and there's the king or the emperor.
Without wasting any time, let's start with the bottom. The absolute worst people that you will encounter. The kinds of people who you are unsure if they're a human being or a pile of garbage that has gained sentience and joined your duty.
Holy shit.
These are the kind of players who simultaneously have no idea what any mechanic in the game does and have no idea how to play their class properly.
So basically a noob, someone that's new.
The DPS players who don't AoE, the healers who don't even DPS but still manage to drop the tank, and they deflect any sort of mild criticism to playing like this with...
Well, I actually played with a bunch of people like that before.
The game does put a little symbol next to these players so that you know what you're getting into ahead of time. I'm talking about mentors. I'm not exactly sure what attracts people to
that makes no sense.
But the absolute scourge of the world are just always mentors.
Wait a second. There's something wrong here. How is a mentor the biggest noob if he's supposed to teach the noobs? Wait, what? Okay, that is really interesting because I didn't expect it. I thought like sprouts are the ones or something like that because they just got into the game. They don't know that on a healer you have to DPS too, or that on a DPS you have AoE skills and certain dots you need to maintain. Okay, this surprised me. So the mentors are the worst. Okay, that's good to know. So I have to be careful with who I make a group with now, right?
Of the world are just always mentors.
But not all of them,
I'm pretty sure
I think.
If Hitler was alive, he would have been a mentor in this game. After wondering why that shit-stained crown even exists,
that's a punchline
I have finally pieced it together for you. They serve as a prime example of how not to play the game. Thankfully, this club is exclusive, so there's not too many mentors to encounter.
Wait, who is the mentor in this group?
They do make up the absolute bottom of the social hierarchy.
Okay, be aware of
mentors.
mentors then.
One step from the very bottom, we have RPers. Specifically in Limsa Lominsa. Now, this is a class of players that are only just above mentors. Every godforsaken time you have to do something in Limsa, it's a group that single-handedly makes you fill with dread. Now, there's always an orgy going on in the Aetherite Plaza and some other degeneracy that I don't even want to think about. Now, I do not care what two consenting adults do in their own time. But Ram Ranch is looking like an abstinence-only...
That's how Limsa Lominsa looks at the Aetherite Plaza. Seriously.
Why is it always in public? The only thing good about Scholar was letting you get out of this shithole after level 50. If you ever think that you've done something cringy in your life, like I have, always remember that at least you're not part of this crowd. Maybe I'm uncultured, and my antisocial tendencies are too high, so I don't understand the joy of emoting for 12 hours in the same spot.
Yeah.
But my God, it's just so annoying.
Those are role players and also idle players, constantly AFK but dancing.
The city in the middle of the night and pray that you're too wasted to remember the horror. All right, now this next one might seem...
You know what's interesting? I always thought those sort of like dancers or role players, even like the bard bands that are performing at the Aetherite Plazas in Gridania, in Limsa Lominsa, in Ul'dah, I always thought that those players are those that already beat endgame and they're a bit bored or out of content, so they just want to show their fashion and their character, the emotes they unlock, they learn how to play freaking songs and stuff. Like, I always thought that was the case. Like, I didn't know that those players are like described here. I thought those were like endgame players just showing off or something, but interesting. I'm learning so much more now.
Pray that you're too wasted to remember the horror.
That's a good video right
now this
there.
Next one might seem a little bit oddly specific, but I'm going to be talking about people who make class guides on YouTube. These people are always so irritating.
Why?
Asking you to subscribe to their channel.
Yeah, subscribe to me.
I bet they're not even mediocre at all the classes that they play. Sometimes they even have the audacity to post their shitty content onto your favorite subreddit. The absolute nerve of these people. Even better, I think they live stream things other than Final Fantasy too. Thankfully, it's always hard to tell who these people are while playing Final Fantasy, but they're always lurking somewhere in a corner. Either way, they get the title of not being a mentor in game, but they're only a step above by being a mentor on YouTube. Omnicrafters. Anyone telling you that crafting is not a giant pyramid scheme in this game is just fucking lying. Leveling up your crafters is a big scam of being able to put
this
as
takes
much
a long
money
time,
into
I'm pretty
it
sure.
to make your leveling experience faster, and then trying to make all that money back by selling crafting materials to other crafters. If everyone just signs up 10 of their friends, we will exceed the amount of atoms in the universe with the number of people that we have crafting. Once you're at the top, you still have...
I'm actually wondering if that's worth it to level like a crafting thing. I know you can get yourself some armors and stuff, like even earrings. And I think if you're a goldsmith, you get like jewelry and stuff, like rings and such, right? But is it also like the fastest source of making gil, like money in this game? I think so, right?
Number of people that we have crafting. Once you're at the top, you still have to pentameld all your shit to even make the stuff for your static. I definitely don't know that from experience. However, this social class that I'm talking about is for the true crafters.
I'm not sure if I have time to do it. Maybe I'll just buy off stuff from them.
Craft. I do admire their dedication, but they're also the group that will complain if they have to go into a single instance for a patch that interrupts their important crafting time. They're only doing that they need is of the craft. So it does suck that they have to do their instances once in a while. At least this group is restoring Ishgard for everyone else who didn't want to deal with the minigame. Flowers, the returning players.
Flowers.
You might think it's weird that I haven't mentioned sprouts yet, but let me be clear. Flowers are just worse sprouts.
What?
Unlike
really?
New
How?
players who have no idea what's going on and are just trying to learn, these people have no idea what's going on, but have preconceptions of what they believe is truly right. So it's a complete coin flip, because flowers...
Wait, they have misconceptions of what's right. Could it be that those flowers that return, they played in like another patch or update, and maybe like skills got changed? So they have like the old thinking, oh, this skill used to do this, in this dungeon it was this. And because they come back to the game, they have like a wrong information or out of date information, and they're like trying to use that kind of playstyle or something, and that's why? That's what I'm imagining right now.
Flowers come in all shapes and sizes. You can get a hardcore player who stopped playing to raise his kid and finish med school, only to finally come back and lead your group down the path
sometimes
of
life comes.
Or there could be a former mentor who lost the status after the player commendation requirement was increased.
Oh.
You will find out very quickly if that flower is a beautiful rose or a rotten dead horse arm lily. Either way, flowers do start to make up the bottom of the middle part of the social hierarchy. Now, just above that, we have plot watchers. And these players are the ones that don't play the game for anything other than the plot. Only resubbing just for the patch, but not for the new instances.
So the story people.
The optional instances, just to get
what is this? This looks so cool.
You might think that it is weird that flowers and plot watchers are not the same group. The difference between the two is that plot watchers have the biggest ego of any social group within Final Fantasy XIV. Always reminding us that our Lord and Savior Yoshi P said that they do not have to remain subbed at all times, and it is okay to take breaks. And while I do think that is a true statement and very noble, they also seem to forget that he didn't say, don't learn how to play your class properly and don't do damage while being a healer. No one cares if you want to run dungeons only once and have never seen an instance without the message a player is new to
I see the issue here.
That is not an excuse for not having any idea what your class does. While you might think it's weird that this class is so far up in the pecking order despite being...
I think I've met those kind of story people. There was also a person that each time, okay, like I'm maybe a fast reader, I'm not sure. But usually if you do like dungeons and from the main story quest, you have like those dungeons, right? That have also like cinematics and things. And half of the group just skips through, right? And then there's me, and I watch and read everything, but at a normal speed. And there are sometimes like individuals, and they're in the cinematic for almost twice as long as me, and I could have watched the whole thing twice. And I'm actually wondering if those are the people, because I've noticed there was like this one dude, and he was a healer, and he was just healing the tank every several, I don't know, when he was like really low health always only. And the DPSs, they didn't even get any heal. Like, I never got any heal. I had to self-heal myself, the other dude too. And sometimes we had to wipe at certain bosses because this person forgot to heal or something. I have no clue what was wrong with this person. Or I saw that one just heal and sometimes stand around like AFK. Either this was like a really, really bad or slow player. I don't know what was wrong with this guy, but he was always in the cinematic for so long. Like the early cinematic, and also the one after we encountered the boss, right? Because if you encounter the boss, there's also a cinematic. And I think this was a story person, because he really consumes the story really slow, and he doesn't know anything about his white mage, because he played very strange on it.
One of the more annoying parts of the community, this group of sycophants
he healed AFK and he didn't do much damage.
The sheer amount of pressure they exude to make the normal content as brain dead as humanly possible and further the gap between normal and hard content has earned them this higher rank, because they have way too much sway in what gets changed in the game. Alright, now we can talk about Sprouts, the new players.
Oh, that's
While
me.
New players might feel a little bit self-conscious about themselves, I think in general the community always has a nice place in their heart for new players. Long before I was a jaded, cold-blooded animal in this game, I too was once bewildered and inspired by everything for the first time. Sprouts provide a gateway into that.
That's a cool mount.
That I don't think anyone else.
How do I get this one? Please leave in the comment section if you know.
A little bit when we see them die to the same shit that caught us off guard for the first time.
Oh,
running away from everyone with a stack marker.
She stared at my first jump scare in a dungeon.
Stance for just a little bit too long. Though you never really have to fear Sprouts, they're usually willing to listen for simple advice and are the people who are willing to try to improve. But a wise man once said, "Beware the Sprout who does not listen." Don't take everything that you hear from people as ironclad.
Yeah, I think it's a mixed group. There are people that will become really good, and some people they just never want to learn.
Sprouts. So my recommendation, use that power and milk some free karma on Reddit while you still can. Or just pretend to be a Sprout for upvotes. What the hell do I care? Normies. We're finally at the bulk of the community, the
normies.
True middle class. If you play Final Fantasy
the casual
XIV,
players,
you're probably
basically
a normie. This is the group that plays fairly often. They're not going to be subbed 100% of the time, but more so than the plot watchers. They will run weekly.
And they have like secondary good gear, yeah.
To do their rotation and do a good enough job, even if the content that they run is not exactly that hard. They are happy to help new players, but usually just say nothing in chat minus a greeting at the beginning and a thank you at the end. If they manage to.
But that's the group that actually makes the game, because the normies are the ones you can beat in PvP because they're not too OP and they're making like the most of the players. So if you're like a really good player, they're the ones you beat there, right? And normies are the ones that are like good if you're like farming stuff, right? Because they're more easily joining you than if you do like the really hardcore, like the ultimates and stuff. So if you do like regular dungeon runs and you're like, or you're like, for example, leveling a second job, they are like so good. Because they help you with
something up, they will make notes and adjust anytime they have to run that content later. They are the ones who are willing to stand on the platforms in Labyrinth of the Ancients and always go into the belly as a DPS on any alliance. Usually pretty relaxed to talk to, fine with being mediocre.
They're really cool guys.
But do have a tendency to shit on World of Warcraft, which is a pretty weird fixation. I never played WoW, but man, this group makes me feel obligated to hate on it.
Are those like former WoW players for the majority, maybe?
Community and are pretty okay in general. Now we can get to raiders, the people who run hard content every week. These are the people who are trying to
I want to get into this group.
And they might not play it very often, but they don't need to.
Hope I can get into this group.
Because they are only focused on whatever the current raid tier is. If you have cleared one Savage raid, you're already probably part of the top 10% of the player base. This group does have a firm understanding of game mechanics and probably know how to play their class. Maybe. While they don't make up the largest part of the player base, they do get to experience some of the most involved content and honestly some of the most interesting. Thankfully, they do still get something thrown at them every now and again, but we don't get 3 ultimates per expansion, so oh well. Now we're going to talk about free-to-play players. F2P players are honestly intimidating for sub-payers. While some free-to-play players probably feel like they owe some debt to the people who actually pay to play the game.
You know what's actually funny here in Final Fantasy XIV? Like the free-to-play amount is actually quite high. Like there's so much. I've read there are like over 200 hours of content you can actually do as a free-to-play player. So if in FFXIV, for example, you make a trial account, you can like level several jobs to level 60. And you have so much hours of game time. Like I give you guys an example. You start as a Marauder, you make it a warrior. Then next you start with freaking Arcanist, you make this a summoner. And you can do like every job as a free-to-play player, always to level 60 because you don't have a time restriction. And you can do like the first expansion too, I've heard, right? And like the whole story and everything. And you could do like quite many dungeons as well, but the only downside is you kept at like level 60 and you don't get to the other expansions and the areas, right? But like, if you guys are watching this video right now and you don't have Final Fantasy XIV, there's a free try. You can give this game a try. Like I said, over 200 hours of playtime, and you can make multiple characters in multiple worlds. Like one world, this and this. You can try out different races if you want, and you can also go on one character and just level every job till level 60 that you can grab. And there are like tons of content also from the job quests and stuff. So yeah, you have lots of content as a free-to-play player. What is actually crazy.
In reality, free-to-play players are under no obligation to sub-payers. They enjoy Heaven's Word and are probably the only people who even know what an optimized level 60 rotation looks like. This group has managed to maximize the content that they have access to the absolute limit. Leveling everything to 60, running the content that most players who started playing since Stormblood probably never even heard of. In fact, most don't even know that there's a whole 2 additional expansions beyond what they have access to. In many ways, they are much more intimidating because they probably put in more hours than the people who paid just to be able to experience the plot every single patch.
I wonder why that is.
The only downside for them
because of the restrictions.
Is that they have no friends. We have now finished talking about everybody
they have no friends?
Class of the social hierarchy.
Why do they have no friends? Ah, I see now. Yeah, if you are free to play, you can't add friends. But wait, they can add you. You can just use general chat and then ask them to add you. Actually, I used to do that when I was still free to play. And yeah, if they add you then as a friend, and you can make like a group, and you can still like whisper in basically group chat, right? Because you can't like send tell, unfortunately.
Now it's time to start talking about the billionaires and the people who actually control the entire
who are the kings? I want to know who is the king group.
We begin by talking about Yoshi P. He has his entire tier dedicated to him. He is Jesus Christ himself. This man has founded his own religion, died for our sins, solved world hunger, and even found
He's the biggest hero for the game.
And despite all these amazing
Yoshi P.
He can never be the top of the pecking order. And this is because he does not want it. He did manage to save this game from the brink of...
Wait, why is he not on top? Okay, it's interesting. But yeah, Naoki Yoshida, he saved the game. It's all thanks to Naoki Yoshida that we can play the Final Fantasy XIV game that we are playing right now. Because he did the Realm Reborn.
This is because he does not want it. He did manage to save this game from the brink of death, but at the same time, he has limited his power. Because if he became any stronger, not even God himself would stand a chance. The community worships him. You probably respect
that's
him.
true. I've never...
And he is the one who will fix all of the bugs in Cyberpunk.
You know what's funny? All of the bugs in Cyberpunk. No, but seriously, what's funny is I've never read a single negative post about Naoki Yoshida. Like each game I've played, there's always someone roasting like the director, right? Like I always read something negative. It doesn't matter which game it is. But when it comes to Final Fantasy XIV, I've read not a negative feedback yet about Yoshi P. Nobody, I think, posted anything.
Who will fix all of the bugs
like no complaints.
Cyberpunk 2077. All that's left is for him to purge mentorship. Now, right above Yoshi P are going to be interior decorators. Now, have you ever heard of Housing Extreme? Well, these players run freaking Housing Ultimate. The amount of dedication and luck required to get a house in the first place is already bad enough. But these players interact.
That's a nice house right there. Very traditional design.
The most beautiful interior decorations that even Frank Lloyd Wright himself would be proud of. I have no idea how they do it. If you ever go randomly through the housing districts, there's always a chance that you'll find a house that just overwhelms you with emotion.
Like a palace or something.
Kind of emotions too.
Wow.
They have all their crafters and gatherers leveled up to be able to make exactly what they need. And I wouldn't be surprised if their planning is down to the micron. The only thing I can say almost for certain is if they decorate their digital house as well as this, their real-life house probably looks like shit. Still, they do manage to make...
Like, imagine that. They have like the nicest house in-game. They live like a freaking hut like this. Do they even have internet here?
Still, they do manage to make their ways up into the upper echelons of the social hierarchy.
That's crazy.
We are now almost at the peak. With
I wonder what the peak is.
And this is the type of player who's going to strike fear into your soul. They are born from the game code. Their living spaces are located in the basement of Square Enix's headquarters around the globe, just for a better server connection. Somehow, in spite of their human limitations, they managed to play better than an AI designed to play the game. A person with their brain hardwired to the computer. Aren't
they the ones that also find like ways
to... They are the outliers on parsers. Not that they even need the parsers. Parsers need them. They have their GPU.
Aren't they the ones that also find like broken mechanics? If you stand like at a certain corner, you take no damage and stuff, and they
will
abuse
stick around
bugs?
in your shitty prog group and legitimately try to help you. These are the people that mentors wish they could be. They know the content. They breathe the content. They take the content out on a date and ejaculate their knowledge onto other players. They are almost the top dog if it wasn't for another social group. And that group is going to go to glamourers. And I'm not...
Glamourers are the highest
of
the
shitty glamours that you see. No Dalmel skin top, not the 2B legging shit. I'm talking about the crowd.
Oh, that's a cool outfit.
Single-handedly keeping this game alive.
Find a female character out, make her look like that.
PvP just to glam. They level every class to 80, including crafters and gatherers, just to get their outfit right and have the perfect aesthetic for every occasion. They will clear Savage and Ultimate, not for best in slot, but just to look fly as fuck. Not only do they probably parse like a monster.
Yeah, that's a funny boss, by the way, a flying pig. Holy shit. It's flying with its ears.
Only once in a lifetime.
It's like the elephant Jumbo.
You can feel the presence change in your room.
Oh shit.
They know every mechanic in every fight and how to optimize their DPS at every single level and manipulate the RNG to get the glamour drop that they need.
Wow.
Fuck, they probably decorated their house as well. World leaders fear them and RPers worship them. Faction fantasy players are the true oligarchs of the Final Fantasy
XIV Vegas here right there. That's funny.
With that, you now have a complete understanding of the Final Fantasy XIV community.
Oh wow.
Now get out there.
So Glam on top
for 12 hours in Limsa.
Yo, this was really funny, guys. Okay, Glamours on top and followed by the hardcore raiders. Oh wow. I'll probably be a raider. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be in the hardcore raider group because I'm not sure if I'm gonna be that good, but I'll definitely aim for the raiding group. At least I would be upper medium hierarchy, not a peasant, right? But oh wow. But this with the mentors shocked me so much at the beginning. Are mentors really that bad in the game? I always thought you are a mentor if you're like experienced and you played the game for like 2 or 3+ years. Or maybe you started even 5 years ago and you're like super experienced. I'm surprised that mentor is so low. That shocked me actually. And yeah, like I can't wait to get like to this really cool end content, because I've noticed always in this video I was like trying so hard to like listen to what he has to say, but this was almost like distracting those cool boss fights. I'm just kidding, I heard everything he said, but seriously, this is such a funny cool video. And with that hierarchy, and yeah, those Limsa Lominsa RP players that are like dancing around and stuff, I like wondering if they have actually beaten the game yet or not, because I saw some people, they do that with level 30 and 40. Like I see people level 30, 40 dance around, and if I come back like 3-4 days later, I sometimes see the same names or similar names also on level 30, 40. So I think they didn't play for like a week or something, because they're still the same level. Like I don't know what people are doing. There was like this one Lalafell player that was a bard level 33, and he was like playing his instrument. And then I came back like, what was like 3 days later, and this person was there again at the same time. So either they're just using the job to perform, or I don't know. But there was also like some black mage level 70, always level 70, level 70. Like I'm a bit confused what the background is of those people that stand around there. If they're literally just making a character to like dance, they don't play at all, that's why they stay on the same level. Or I don't know, maybe it's their secondary job and they're just messing around, taking a break. Or maybe they are going there when they have like lunch or dinner and they want to be AFK in a cool fashion. So what they do is they eat their meal or something, and then they just gonna use emote dance or something, and then they eat, blah 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 blah. They are done, and then they get back to playing. I don't know about those, but interesting, very interesting social hierarchy. And yeah, guys, if you are new to this channel, please don't forget, hit that subscribe button for more content. There's a lot of more Final Fantasy XIV content coming, and I will live stream soon again, so be prepared for that. And I'll also really appreciate if you like this video. This will help out with the YouTube algorithm. And please stay all safe and healthy, and I will see you guys next time.